Let's start with the Incremental DOM example. Incremental DOM is a library for building up DOM trees and updating them in place when data changes. First, we're assuming that the Incremental DOM library is already loaded on the page. We assign it to the variable IncDOM for ease of reference. We create a div element which will serve as our container for the list. This is where all our items will be rendered. Next, we define a function named renderList with IncDOM. It takes an array of items as its parameter. The key part of this function is the IncDOM patch method, which applies changes to the list container. Within the patch function, we iterate over all items using forEach. For each item, we open a new div element, set its text, and then close the element. To simulate a real-world scenario, we create a large list comprising 10,000 items using array_from. Each item has a unique key and text content, similar to what you might have in a large application. We then call our render function and pass our large list to it. This action initiates the rendering process using Incremental DOM. After rendering, we log out the memory usage. We access the used JS heap size through the window performance memory object, which gives us an approximate amount of memory used by JavaScript objects and structures. Now, let's contrast this with the virtual DOM approach using React. React is a popular library for building user interfaces. We destructure the createElement function from the React object. It's the function we use to define our elements in React. Similarly, we destructure the render function from React DOM. React DOM is a complementary library to React that allows us to render to the DOM. Now we define a function named renderList with virtual DOM. This function also takes an array of items as input and uses the map method to transform each item into a div React element. Each element is given a key prop for stable identity and its text content. As with Incremental DOM, we generate a large list of 10,000 items to render. It's important to have the lists be identical for a fair comparison of memory usage. We call our virtual DOM render function with the large list, transforming our items into a list of React elements. We create another div element to serve as the container for our virtual DOM rendered elements, and then we append this container to the document's body. Using the render function from React DOM, we render our list of React elements inside our virtual DOM container. The createElement function is used here to create a parent div that contains all list items. Finally, we log the memory usage after rendering with the virtual DOM, using the same method we used for Incremental DOM. This will give us insight into how the two approaches compare in terms of memory allocation.